Hello everybody and welcome back to the Farming Simulator 25 map guide. Today we're going to be taking a look at North German country. But before that, this video is brought to you by Mark Bauer and Mighty Mouse 05. Thank you for being farm barons. So the North German country map we found at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for PC and Mac only. Now this is a 4X map, and as such, I do expect that this map is going to be exclusive to PC and Mac, regardless of the fact if you get update or not. Now, in addition to this being a 4X map, this map has a boatload of required mods. 26, in fact. So while we're talking about a fairly large map at 785 megabytes in size to download, after we factor in all of the required mods, we're looking at a total download size of 1.0 gigabytes. The required mods are vehicle shed, sheds and storage, large storage halls, half timbered barn, wind turbine package, shelter, bunker silo set modular, farmhouse package volume 3, shed pack, cow shed pack, chicken coop, cow shed 3+0, slurry storage pack, old farm package, cow shed 3+3, pig shed, all the ground textures in game, farmhouse package volume 2, waterhouse, grain flour mill, pig shed, storage shed, shed pack, manure basin, 3-sided farm, and workshop. Let me go ahead and read you some of the description. Welcome to the North German country map. This is a fictional North German quadruple map, aka 4X. This map includes 151 fields, lots of grassland, 76 forests, 7 farms with farmhouses, 10 farms for settlers, 4 cow pastures, 3 sheep pastures, 2 horse pastures. At the sugar factory, each of the 7 main farms has, at the sugar factory and at each of the 7 main farms, there is a bulk bunker for storage of sugar beets. I'll explain that here in a little bit. Dedicated soil map for precision farming. So this map does have a custom soil map. Fully equipped starter farm with used machinery. Many small details that'll make you smile. Numerous production facilities and sale outlets. Stubble and crop destruction. Farm decorations, including curbs, fences, etc., can be removed when the doghouse is sold. This map includes additional crops in rye, triticale, spelt, green rye, viburnum, field grass, humus-active, mustard, spring barley, spring wheat, and flowering cover crop. This map has been set up with multi-terrain angle and 256 soil angles. Livestock pastures can be sold and bought via the farmland. All pastures have some water and food in them. The BGA plant only appears in the price list and field missions. The others are purely productions. Okay. Buildings you want to demolish will incur a demo fee. Custom script for more pastures and productions with a limit of 256 of each. Many custom textures and decorative plants. Many soil textures, plants, and trees in the building menu. Well, with all that covered, let's go ahead and jump over here to the map. And I need to address something very, very important that may eliminate this map for many people after the 26 mods have been already mentioned. And that is performance. The performance on this map is not good on kind of any system, to that fact. And the reason for that, I think, is that there is some custom view distance on nearly everything to be incredibly long. I'm going to do this video, I typically don't, but I'm going to do this video with the frame rate indicator up. And we are now currently looking, if we look at the PDA, we are currently looking to the south. And we're down there towards the south. So we're right down there toward the map boundary. And if I turn and look to the north, you're going to see that our steady frame rate of 60 FPS. And if I unlock this frame rate temporarily, you see we're hovering up there in the 80s. Maybe we might hit 90 every so often. We might tip down into 70 a little bit. But let me go ahead and leave that frame rate unlocked and rotate my camera view oh so slowly. And as I start looking and seeing more of the map, you're going to see that frame rate just steadily drop until the point where we are looking all the way across to the northern part of the map. And our frames, now unlocked, mind you, are in the mid-20s. Let me lock my frame rate back down. It's not going to matter because I can't do 60 FPS at this point. And I'm looking all the way across the map. Again, I can see windmills nearly all the way across the map at this point. I can see trees nearly all the way across the map at this point. My frame rates, we just got up to 30 just by sitting here, are horrible, in my opinion. Now, I'm recording this on a 4070 Ti Super. So I wouldn't really call it low end. It's not the top of the top end either. But you know what? I think a vast majority of farm sim players are working with stuff below that particular level. I can tell you I loaded this map up on my low end test system. And, well, the performance was not good. I was seeing anywhere between the mid-20s to 30s FPS. And if we factor in frame gen, well, then we're only talking about 50 to maybe 60 FPS. And that's with help. Now, maybe the map author always uses frame gen. Maybe the map author always uses some sort of upscaling. And they didn't realize what this would look like on systems that weren't using all of those new techniques. I don't use upscaling. I don't use frame gen on my production box. What you're seeing is raw rendering here. And the raw rendering is not good. Now, in the OBS, it may be smoothing some of this out a bit. And if it is, well, that's why I'm going to leave the frame rate up here, because I think it's important to address that. The map looks great. It just runs bad. And if they'd left the view distance standard, it would run great and it would still look great. Now it just looks great. Hopefully it gets updated. Hopefully view distance drops. And hopefully then it performs better for pretty much everyone, regardless of the power of your system. Because you don't need a high-end system to run a 4X map. We've seen 4X maps that run outstanding on low-end hardware. It's the view distance that's absolutely killing it. Again, if I look towards the south, my frames jump instantly. If I look now back to the north, my frames tank instantly. If I look down, my frames jump because now I'm not looking at all that stuff. As I look back up, the frames tank instantly. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. There is a whole lot going on here, and quite frankly, a little depressing that the map performs so bad, because I think this is a really great map. It's got lots of potential for multiplayer, but the performance, I think, is going to put it down to a very small number of people that are really going to be able to play this and put up with the frame rate and possibly put up with the slideshow that they're going to end up with. As I said in the description, this map does have a lot of custom crops. They include humus-active, mustard, rye, triticale, spelt, VTech rye, green rye, field grass, and a flowering catch crop. I do have grass turned off, but if we go ahead and turn that on, you can see all the fields that are set up with grass at the start. Now, if we take a look here at our farmland, you'll see that we start out by owning a main farm at farmland ID 248. Should we choose to not own the starting farm at the start, well, all of the buildings will be here as you see them now. You will not own any starting machinery, so you will not have access to any of the machinery that is here by owning the starting farm, even if you buy the farm. We also own farmland ID 252, which is a cow pasture. The main farm is going to include cows and pigs, and you can buy that if you don't own the farm for $489,000. Now we own a few fields as well. Here to the north, we own farmland ID 14. We own farmland ID 68. We also own farmland ID 77. We own farmland ID 91, farmland ID 120, as well as farmland ID 51. Now, let's take a little bit of deep breath and prepare ourselves, because I counted up I counted up 14 farms. I know the description said something to the effect of 7 farms and 10 farmhouses for settlers, which would come up to 17. I counted 14. And what I used to make that count was farms that included animals and a farmhouse or buildings. I didn't really see a ton of farmhouses that really stood out to me when I bought all the land that were simply just farmhouses. maybe we'll find when we get around to looking at the map via the aerial view that we have obvious areas that are cleared off for you to place your own buildings. And that would be farms for settlers. Of those 14 farms, there's also 65, about, because I kind of lost count, 65 animal pens across the entirety of the map. You can see at our base starting farm here, we've got pigs and 2 cows, and then we have a cow pasture. So we have 4 animal pens just with respect to what we own at the start. Now, let's run down through the animals and the farms, and I'm going to do this kind of in a west to east, and then I'm going to go down a little bit, then we're going to go to the west, then I'm going to go down a little bit more and go back across, basically making a few runs across the map. That's just going to make it a whole lot easier for me to track where they all are, and I'm not just running all over the place. In the northwest, farmland ID 215 is going to be a pig farm for $370,000. Then we have farmland ID 213, which is going to be a cow pasture. That's going to be viable for $289,000. We have farmland ID 247. That is going to be a pig farm for $195,000. We have a sheep pasture at farmland ID 246, which you can buy for $248,000. We have farmland ID 251, which is set up as a cow farm for $160. And we also have another cow farm with lots of buildings and cow pens at farmland ID 244 for $1.4 million. We have a horse pasture at farmland ID 245, which you're going to find south of field 24. Then we have a pig farm at farmland ID 214 for $197,856. We have a horse pasture at farmland ID 211 for $183,672. We have a pig farm at farmland ID 210 for $608,000. We have a sheep pasture at farmland ID 212 for $337,000. We have another sheep pasture at farmland ID 254 for $340,000. We have a cow pasture at farmland ID 253. That's going to be between farmland ID 44 and farmland ID 53, and that's going to be viable for $158,000. We have a sheep farm at farmland ID 152 across the river now for $656,000. We have a chicken, pig, and horse farm at farmland ID 171, and that's going to be for $495,000. We have a pig farm at farmland ID 169 for $106,000. We have another pig farm at farmland ID 170, and that's going to be available for $149,000. We have another pig farm at farmland ID 180. That's going to be found just east of farmland ID 113 for $425,000. We have a cow farm at farmland ID 177 for $121,500. And that's going to pretty much conclude the rundown of the various farms that have farmhouses, buildings, and animal pastures. And then any animal pasture that I mentioned is just going to have an animal area and no other buildings, as best as I could tell. Now, farmland ID 176 is going to be the BGA that you can purchase, and that's going to be $1 million, and that's going to include farmland. We have that right there. Now, with respect to the precision farming soil map, this map is making use of a custom soil map. So let's go ahead and see how it is being applied to these fields. Along the river, overall, for the most part, we have silty clay. We also have silty clay here running kind of north along this drainage channel and then all the way across the northern part of the map. We've got down to the southern part of the map, a fair bit of sandy loam, a bit of loamy sand to the extreme south. And then over here on the southeast corner, we do have some loam. We've got a mix of sandy loam and loam here along the east. And over here along the northwest section, we've got loam, sandy loam, and silty clay, as well as loamy sand as well. Taking a look at our crop counter, we do have basically the standard FS25 crop counter, but again, we do have several additional crops, so they have been incorporated and added to the crop counter here. And we also have the ability to do, as was mentioned, kind of spring wheat and barley. Taking a look at our animals, before we go and pick up all those other animal pens, we do have a cow pasture that is set up with multiple cows already. And this one, though, doesn't have any water. We do have some TMR. We have a cow shed that is set up with some food here as well as straw. And then we have a feeding robot cow shed that's already set up with straw and some food. And then our pigs, we are all set up with food and water as well. With respect to contracts, we do have contracts available on this map. Looks like we have our wood transport. So we should have all of the new contracts, including deadwood and stone crushing. As far as productions, I counted up 25 productions being available on this map. As far as production zone at start, we do not have any, but we have a dairy, paper factory, carpentry, grain mill, cereal factory. We have an oil mill. We also have a sawmill, barrel making, food processor. We have our carpentry, grain mill, cement works, biomass energy place, potato processor. We also have a bakery, soup factory, piano manufacturing. We have a spinnery, rope making. We have a sugar mill, a grape processor, and a tailor. There are some additional BGAs that you will pick up when you buy the various farms. And we're going to run back through our productions here in a minute once I go through and buy all of these farms and pastures. With respect to sell points, I counted up 20 different sell points scattered around the map. We do start out by owning vehicles should we choose to own the starting farm, but do note that they're not all brand new. Some are pretty bad off in basically a zero condition, and some are used and therefore are not also at 100%. None of the equipment on this map is leased at the start, which is a good thing. As far as collectibles, we have the 25 glowing orbs that are on Hutan Pantai scattered around this map. Take a look at our starting fleet. Again, if we do own the starting farm, we're going to start out with the Fendt 724 Vario medium tractor. We have the Fendt 320, Fendt 514, and the John Deere 3650 small tractors, as well as the Skoda Kodiaq car. For our front loader arms, we have the universal bucket, manure fork, and big bag lifter. We have the Hauer XB150 and XB190 front loader arms. We've got the half pipe HP20 trailer, as well as a pair of Rudolph DK280 RP trailers and the big body 750S. We have the Flegel DTS 5.9 low loader, and we have the Credo 3 Power Harrow. That's typically matched up with the Versa Seeder. We also have our Samgard 9500K cultivator. We have the TMS 2 300D mulcher and the Servo T6000P plow. For our planter, we have the Presea 4500 2C Super planter, the Vaderstad Redux 1230 roller, as well as the Puler 600 weeder. We have for our fertilized spreading, the Amazon ZA TS 3200 3-point hitch fertilized spreader, and the Breedal K105 fertilizer and lime spreader. We've got the 18,000 Maxline Plus slurry tanker, as well as the Hardy Mega 1200L and the Mega 1200L front tank for our liquid fertilizer and herbicide application. We have the TA 12050 Power Spread Plus manure spreader. For our harvesting, we have the Evian 450, as well as the Vario 620 grain header. For the grain header, we have the Nardi N20T header trailer, and we have an 8-row Capello corn header. For our grass care, we have the Vendro 820 Highland tedder. We have the Pottinger Faro 4010D forage wagon and the Swadro TS790 windrower, as well as a KDF 341 front mower and the XT390 trailed side mower from Samez. For our bale wrapping fun, we have the Gouville G1050 3-point hitch wrapper and the Varapack V190 XC Plus for round baling. For our TMR mixing, we have the RA142 and we have the ABI 550 water tanker. And then we have Well, a boatload of weights. We have a 1,250 kilogram front weight, a 2,500 kilogram front weight, 1,100 kilogram, and a 1,000 kilogram front weight. And we wrap it up with a power washer. Now, as far as mods and DLCs, this map does not have any custom vehicles or implements. You may notice that I do not have the straw harvest add-on activated here, and that is because right now there is an issue with straw harvest on any map that has additional crops. So if you do have additional crops like this one, and you do have straw harvest activated, it throws a ton of Lua errors. So I've gone ahead and deactivated it for this video. I'm just going to tab real quick over to our starting farm location. And now, given that this starting farm location is kind of central to the map, wherever we look, we're going to be suffering frames a bit. Because again, we have such large view distances. It's going to be exacerbated once we kind of take to the skies, or if you are playing in third person and therefore you're driving up and behind your tractor. Well, again, you're going to have lower frames than you may be expecting. You may have to dial back your settings a bit on this map to try to boost those frames. I'm going to go ahead and buy all the farms, all the pastures, and I'll come back and run down through some other things. We can see now the PDA is a bit more cluttered with respect to our animals, and I'm just going to go ahead and zoom in here. You can see we have our pig farm, we have our cow pasture, then we have our additional pig farms over here that we talked about. We have our sheep pasture, we have the cow farm and the other cow farm. You can see all of those animals there. Just below that, we have our horse pasture, we have our main starting farm, we have another cow pasture over here, again, 253. Making our way over it, we have our sheep pasture. We have our big pig area over here at farmland ID 210. We have the round horse pasture there. We make our way across the river. We have then another kind of mix of cows and pigs. We have pigs, we have cows. We have that BGA that we went ahead and picked up there. We have some pigs here along the street. Another cow pasture, pigs and cows, pigs and chickens, and then sheep and horses. If we take a look now at our animals, well, you can see that this whole interface has just gone completely wonky. Several of these are empty, but we do have kind of scattered around at probably the various pastures, some random cows, random sheep, and pigs just kind of popping up in here. Again, I think to give the map a bit of life, but you can see most of these overall are going to be pretty free of animals. And again, I counted up 65 of these animal pastures or pens scattered around the map. Let's also take a quick look at our productions. And now that we have purchased all of those farms, you can see that there are 3 BGAs on either the farmland that I mentioned that has the BGA, or 2 biogas plants on the various farms that we've gone ahead and picked up. Let's go ahead and check out the starting farm here. We have our farmhouse. And I will admit, given the vast number of buildings and farms on this map, I haven't tried to sell everything. From the description, we're just going to have to take it for what it's worth, and the fact that we are going to be able to sell buildings. But those buildings may cost us to sell, and the deco items are going to be tied to the doghouse on the various farms. So if we sell the doghouse, then we should see a lot of those deco elements go away. And for the duration of this video, I am going to go ahead and leave that frame rate up. It should be locked at 60. So looking at nothing, we should see 60. If I unlock it, you can see we're bumping up there pretty good. So ideally, it should be steadily at 60. But as a result of the view distance, we're not really seeing that. We've got a nice shed here for our tractors and car. Continue to make our way around the map. We have some bale storage for a total of 500 bales or pallets. I do believe we're going to have to go inside of here in order to open the door. We do indeed. Here in a little bit, we will take a quick look at build mode, but given the fact that we have 26 required mods, well, clearly build mode is going to be populated with lots of optional buildings. Our pig pasture. This particular pig pasture is set up with 90 pigs at the start, and we can have a total of 146 pigs. We have our cow pasture, and this cow pasture at the start is set up with 70 cows, and we can have a total of 154 in this one. We have our milk trigger. Since this is a base game cow building with feeding robot, we can come in here and feed manually should we so wish. We also have our straw trigger inside of here. Or we can bring mineral feed, silage, straw, and hay, which this one's already set up with, and then have the feeding robot do the job for us. On this side of the building, we also have our slurry trigger. More buildings for vehicles and implements. We have a kind of a stealth silage bunker right here. Pull through silage bunker. It doesn't have any retaining walls, so the amount that you're going to be able to store here might be somewhat limited, but we have one there, and we have a second right here. We have additional cow buildings right here. No, additional cow pasture, I should say. Got our grain header in there. So we have our food and straw in here. Now, this building may not be set up to provide manure, even though we have straw. And we have 72 cows in this one, with a total of 154 capacity. We've got our starting farmhouse there, and then we have in the middle of this whole area, we have our farm silo with our dump and fill pipe. As we take to the skies a bit, well, we should see our frame rate start to take a little bit of a nosedive. As we are looking, well, across more and more of the map. So right now we are looking basically due west, and our frame rate's 35. We make our way here and look north. A little bit less to look at here, so our frame rates are 54. We look due east, mid 50s, due south, 41. And what we'll notice is as we progress toward a map boundary, our frame rates will start to go up. Now we're going to attempt to make our way around to all of the other farms and pastures. Go ahead and get a drink and settle in, because this map's going to take a while to cover. You see, as we get closer and closer to the western edge of the map, our frame rates are slowly climbing until we get up to the nice steady 60 FPS. And at that point, we're right here at the map boundary. So we made our way up here to the north. And again, we're going to start at Farmland ID 215 and basically run through the same list in the order for which we started when I was talking about where the various farms were. Here we are, Farmland ID 215. This is going to be a pig farm, if I am remembering correctly. So we have our slurry, we have our food, and this pig facility set up with 275 pigs. We have our farm silo with our dump and fill pipe here. Now we're up here to the north, and we're on the ground, but we got pretty good frame rates. We got, once again, bale and pallet storage for 500 bales or pallets. More vehicle storage. Another pig building, again set up for 170 pigs. Slurry and food, as we've already seen. Our third pig building, once again located up here. And once again, slurry, food, and 170 pigs. We have our farmhouse with our sleep trigger. I was just kind of looking for that doghouse. There we are. So those looking to get rid of the deco around this particular farm, you're going to find the farmhouse here along the side, right by the wardrobe trigger. We got some more pig buildings here. We have, again, another facility for 170 pigs. I believe that's up to 4. And 5 pig facilities here. Again, up to 100. No, this one surprised me. 250 pigs. So we have slurry, food, and 250 at that building. And that is going to be our pig farm. We also have slurry storage here on the other side of our farm silo. Make our way down here to farmland ID 213. This is going to be a pasture. And at this cow pasture, well, we have our food. Again, if we put straw in here, I don't think we're going to get manure out of this particular facility, even if we put a manure heap down. We're going to be able to have a total of 314 pigs here, of which we already have 48 if you own this pasture. We're going to make our way over here to farmland ID 247. For another farm. We've got slurry storage over here on our right. I believe this is going to be another pig farm. We've got 2 of those pig buildings directly here. One to our left and one to our right. The one on our left is going to have a total of 275 pigs available. Trigger's not quite where the icon is, but there you go. 275. That one is empty. Going over here to the right, we have our food and slurry again. And another 275. And again, that one is empty at the start. We have our farm silo. Input and output pipe. Another 500 bale and pallet storage building. And then we have our food. We have our trigger here for 462 pigs, of which we already have 47. We have our slurry point there. And there's the pig yard for that. And that is going to be then our second pig farm that we've looked at farmland ID 247. Let's make our way over here to the sheep pasture at 246. This is going to be a fairly long and narrow sheep pasture up along the waterway here. And as such, I would expect that it's going to be able to hold a fair number of sheep. So here we have our trigger. We've got water. 316 sheep are going to be able to be available here, of which we have 42. We have our food trough and our wool and pallet spawn point. Now we'll make our way down to farmland ID 251. We've got some cows. And this particular cow facility is going to hold 165 cows, of which we have 46. Again, we're going to be able to put food in here, straw in here, but this building, I don't think is going to give you any manure. We do have slurry storage, though, right here beside this particular building. And then we have our farm silo. So dump and fill pipe. We got a building here for just some machinery. And then we have our potato processor, which we're going to circle back to. Farmland ID 244 is going to be a massive, absolutely massive cow farm. And we're going to get access to that by coming over here over the bridge and through this way station. Now, on the right, we're going to have several silage bunkers. And these are set up to do silage because when we go into them, we see that they're going to hold chaff. But on this map, we're going to see structures very, very similar to this that are set up to hold sugar beet instead. In fact, we may find one of those here on this particular farm. But all of these are all set up for silage. And to that end, one of our BGAs is up here at this particular facility. So we have our dump points for silage and all of those inputs, our dump point for slurry, our output for digestate, and our interactive icon. Another large grain silo here with our dump and fill point. Machine storage. And let's make our way over here to where all of these cow pastures are located. So we have our farmhouse. With the ever elusive doghouse over here by the wardrobe and sleep trigger. We have another slurry storage building. And then the banquet of animal buildings. Milk triggers here along the back. And around there. Food troughs are going to be inside as well as the straw triggers. And then our animal buy triggers are going to be on the other side of these buildings. Along with our slurry point. 70 cows in that one. One 140 cows in the larger building. And then inside of these large buildings, we're going to find the food trigger right here in the middle of the gate. We have our milk trough, or our milk trigger. And then our animal buy point, 200 cows. 1, 2. So it'll be another 200 cows. And then we have a slightly different building over here. And as such, we're going to have a different capacity of just 80 with our milk trigger. So 2 80 buildings. Food down the middle. Another slurry storage there. And 279. Of which we have 45. And I'm trying to remember. Did we start here? No, we didn't. We started here. So again, this is pretty massive cow facility. We got an open pasture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cow barns. And then in the middle, once again, we have 2 of those kind of phantom silage bunkers. All of these are set up for silage. So we have 6 here at the BGA and 2 over here at the farm. But again, all of this is tied to the same land. We're going to find a cow pasture at farmland ID 245 now. So let's go ahead and make our way down to that. Did I say cows? I meant horses. And we're going to be able to have a total of 16 here, of which we have 16. So we have our food trough. And our horse pasture there. I did notice just here on the other side of the horse pasture, we have a couple more phantom silage bunkers and slurry storage and a nice storage shed as well. Now we're going to go to Farmland ID 214. Let me check my notes. Yeah, 214 for some pigs. Because we had our starting farm here. And then we had the... Well, I guess we didn't cover this cow pasture that's kind of part of our starting farm. Sorry about that. So let's circle back over that one. There's just so much to cover on this map. We have our food trough, we have our bale trigger, we have our water trigger, and then we're good for 56 cows, of which we have 18. This cow pasture is tied to our farmland should we own the farm at the start. Now the next pig farm we're going to go to, again, Farmland ID 214, is actually in the same general direction. It's just south of the farmland pig farm 213 that we looked at earlier. And that's going to be right here. Now maybe this is what we call a starting farm because it's just kind of all kind of run down here with respect to just kind of gravel and everything. But at any rate, we have another pig farm here. And this is going to be using pretty much the same buildings as we've seen at the other areas. So we have a slurry point, 275 pigs in this one, and our food. We're going to have slurry storage. Got 2 sets of slurry storage. 500 bale or pallet storage. We have our farm silo, dump and fill point. Plenty of shed for vehicles and machinery here as well. So we have the pig farm, again, at Farmland ID 214. Let's make our way over to the round cow, or not cow pasture, horse pasture, here along the western edge of the map. So we've got our food trough and our horse point here. And we've got a total of 16 horses already placed here. Just to the south and east of that horse pasture, we have another large farm here. It's going to be a mix of animals. We also have it set up with that BGA. Let's go ahead and check that one out. So we have our main farm entrance here off the main road, where we have our farmhouse. Sleep wardrobe. We have our doghouse. Ever important doghouse, because again, it is tied to our decorative elements. We have more pigs. So we have slurry. We have our pig drop off here for 250, as well as our food. This one's going to be set up for 275 pigs. And then we have another building here that is, again, set up for 275 pigs. We have slurry storage, more pig facilities at 250, and another at 175, not 250 or 275. Yet another. We've already looked at that one, didn't we? Yep. We have the biogas plant that is again tied to this particular farm. And then we have 3 silage bunkers that are associated with that BGA. So we just kind of squeak around here. So we have our farmhouse now. We have some more storage sheds. We have our main farm silo with our dump and fill pipe. And I guess over here behind the biogas plant, we're going to have our cows. So we have more slurry storage. $275 pigs again. I was mistaken. Thought for sure there were cows here. Any rate, another 275 pigs, 500 bales or pallets of storage. Do you believe I was mistaken? But, well, given the fact that there's so many animal pens here and farms, it's kind of hard to remember exactly where everything is. 170 pigs there as well. So that's the massive pig farm here at Farmland ID 240. Let's make our way down to Farmland ID 212. And that is going to be a sheep pasture, if I am anywhere as remotely to recalling correctly. We have water. We have our delivery point for 398 sheep, of which we have 21. We have our food, and we have our milk and wool. Further along the river here, we're going to come to Farmland ID 254. And we have another animal pasture. Right here at the bridge. And again, this one's set up with sheep and goats. So we have our food. We have our trigger here for 423 sheep, of which we have 61. We have our water trough, and we have our wool and milk spawn point. Further on down the road, this is the pasture we start out with. We have our starting farm, so we're back here again. But now we're going to make our way further along the river to Farmland ID 253. This is going to be another pasture. This time we have cows, so we have our water, we have our food, we have our bale, we have our cow delivery point, for a total of 126 cows, of which we have 33. It does not look like this area is set up at all for milk. So make our way across the river now to Farmland ID 152. And at Farmland ID 152, let's down here in the floodplain. I don't know if I'd want to own this land, but hey, somebody does. We've got our sleep and wardrobe trigger here on the left to our farmhouse. And then in behind that, we're going to find a sheep pasture. So we have food. We have a total of 100 sheep in here already for a total of 144 total. So our wool and milk is going to be over here on the far right. We've got horses over here. If I am guessing correctly at this point. We have our food, and we have 16 horses already in this facility, of which is maxed out. Continue to make our way around the farm here. We've got more sheep. The other side of this large machine shed. Wool and milk. We have our food. We have our sheep point. 47 sheep in total. We have 46, so we got room for one more. And we have water. Just on the other side, we have more sheeps. And this one, we have 80, of which we can store 289. So we can move our sheeps from the pen behind me to this one and make room. Got our food trough, and again, our milk and wool point there. We do have a nice farm silo and another bale and pallet storage of 500 capacity. Make our way further south. The next farmland we're going to take a look at. We're going to enter here at the southern point. Nice farmhouse. We have our sleep trigger. We've got our doghouse. And right by that, we do have another point for 36 pigs here at the three-sided farm building. With our slurry point right there. Doesn't look like we can go in that building door. Storage. Make our way around there. Got lots of vehicle and implement storage here at this farm. We have our farm silo, so we have our dump and fill point there. Slurry storage. 500 bales or pallets. More Piggly Wigglies. So, I mean, this would be great for a multiplayer pig server. Again, if we can deal with the frame rate. Got 275 pigs there. Another 275 pigs there. We have 1,500 chickens here with our food. We have room for 16 horses, of which we have 8. So 8 more we can put. We have our food. On the back side of this chicken coop, we should find our area for our eggs. Inside here, so yeah. Same side as our animal trigger. Another chicken coop, 1,500 there, and another 1,500 up here. So 4,500 chickens, and, well, an unknown number of pigs, because, well, I kind of lost count. Down here at Farmland ID 171. So make our way to Farmland ID 170. Is that what this one is now? I've completely lost track of where I am on all my notes. So, yep, 170. I think this is going to be what he's calling the wilderness farms, or the starter farms, because we have a drastic difference in how this farm looks over how that farm over there looks. Right? This is very proper and finished. This farm is very run down and not finished. But here we do have a bunker. And this one is again set up for silage. We've got our slurry storage, not slurry, our crop storage. "35 cows here in this kind of rearing area with our food trough. And then more pigs, 170, with slurry and food. We have slurry storage. And that's this little farm. Made our way north to 169. Another nice large machine shed. I mean, with all of these mods, it'd be nice if we had a little bit of variety, quite frankly, in these various animal pens. But we have our food for another 275 pigs. And shall we double that for 2 pig areas for 275 pigs? So there we have that pig facility. Make our way up along the river once again. Or maybe the canal. Or whatever you want to call it. We have our milk trigger. And for pigs, or not pigs. Got pigs on the brain. Wonder why. We got a total of 161 cows, of which we own 60. There are food here in the middle. Straw as well. And then our slurry point. We continue to make our way around this little road. We're going to come to, I guess, the farm proper. We have more slurry storage. And pigs. 250 pigs. You want to bet? 170 pigs. I'd have lost that bet. Big contractor building. We have our large farm silo with a dump and fill points. 500 bale or pallet storage. And then we have 275 pigs and 275 pigs. Make our way over to Farmland ID 180. And here we have some more cows. 80 cows, none in the facility. We have pigs. Or not pigs, milk. We have our food. Slurry is going to be along the other side. We have our silo for our grain. Did anyone say pigs? I did. 275 there. And another 275 over here. Another facility for our slurry storage. And on the other side of the farm, we have another area for our cows. 200 cows. We have milk. We're going to have 2 silage bunkers here. And over here. We have our farmhouse. We've got the doghouse. And then we have slurry for that big cow area. Another slurry storage and a slurry output for that other smaller cow area. Right up the road from that, well, we've got another farm. Another rustic farm again. So we got our silo. We have our rearing area for our cows. 35, as we had the other facility. 500 bales or pallets for storage. More slurry storage. 2 more silage bunkers of the ghosting variety. Kind of the sleeper bunkers. And I believe, if I am not mistaken, that might just very well be the full rundown of all of the animal areas. Quite a few. And there's even more sell points and productions to get to. But before we do that, I want to come back over here to farmland ID 179, which is going to be the BGA that we can purchase. So here we have the purchasable biogas plant, which is this one. This one is buyable as well, but you're going to need to buy it separate from the farmland itself. And then these bunkers, well, they are set up to hold chaff. I thought for sure they were set up to hold sugar beets. Well, I'm sure we'll run across those here in a little bit. But at any rate, this is kind of a farm BGA because we've got a grain silo. Lots of storage for machinery related to the BGA's operation. And then we have one BGA that comes with the land and one BGA that we have to buy, I believe, separate. Let's once again try to cover these sell points in a little bit of a systematic area. As we've already covered, we have our 2 biogas plants down here at Farmland ID 176, but only one of those is actually buyable with the farmland. We also get some bale and pallet storage, and as I mentioned, the farm silo. We make our way southwest from there. We come down here to a small town, and in that small town, well, we have a sell point, fruit farm pincel. Then we have 2 productions in the carpentry and dairy. Here we have the pincel grain sell point. We have our carpentry and then our dairy across the street. Come back here and take a look at our PDA. We've got those 2 farms that we've already looked at. We do have a water facility right up here along the drainage way, but we're going to skip that and instead make our way all over here between Farmland ID 123 and 124. Because here we're going to find our grain mill, and we also have then a lime and seed and fertilizer buy point, and then more pallet storage. Coming over here, we're going to find our barrel making facility, our cooper, and then let's make our way up here along the river. So up along the river, we're going to have a grain barge sell point located right here. And then we also have lime, seed, and fertilizer buy point. Making our way east along this river, we're going to have our cereal factory. As we wait for autosave. And then we also have a farmer's market right next door. And a barge. Is that a barge cross point? What's this say? Start ferry. Where does the ferry come from? That would be an awful long ferry ride. Well, this would be an awful long ferry ride as well. Any rate, from the supposed ferry point, we have our rope production. We have our harbor market sell point. We have a grain sell point as well as another grain sale buy point. So we're going to be able to buy various things there. We have an oil mill and another grain exporter. Lots of exportation here along the river. We have a stone crusher. We have a paper mill. And we have our biomass heating plant where we're going to be able to sell wood chips as well as logs. We'll just dash across the river here real quick. And over here, well, we're going to have another sell point. This is going to be our warehouse where we're going to be able to sell and buy goods. So we have our sell point there. And our buy trigger over here. We also have that sheep pasture that we looked at under the bridge. We have a buy point for various fill goods, lime, seed, and fertilizer. We have a grain sell point. And then we have that water pumping station, another water pumping station right here. So if we see this house across the way, then that's also going to be for water. Continue to make our way west. That's the ferry crossing? Oh my. That's only going to take a year and a half to get all the way down there. I don't know how effective that really is going to be. But at any rate, making our way back up along the river. We have our starting farm. We have the area that we talked about right across the water. Another water house. Pumping station. We have fuel. We have a bale sell point inside there. We have our manure buy point. We have our slurry buy point. We have our farmer's market sell point as well. And Kate, well, where, Kate, is your animal dealer? I don't see it here at all. Another farmer's market here at our gas station that we kind of skipped over. I guess it's further down. We should have committed and made our way further down. So there we have our animal buy point. Good luck picking through the various animal areas if you do happen to own a ton of them. Right, we've already talked about that farm. Here we have the sugar beet factory, and this is where we have a ton of bunkers that aren't set up for silage. They're set up for sugar beet. So when we come up to them, they say fill level sugar beet, but they also say compacting. So I'm not really sure what that means. Are you supposed to compact and blanket your sugar beets? Let's check our sugar beet factory and see if it has some sort of special input related to fermented sugar beet. No, it's stock. Cut sugar beet, and sugar cane. So I'm not really sure what to deal with the compaction there, unless it's just kind of in error. So we have our sugar beet factory here. Another water pumping station. And we have a bit of a town here, so we're going to have several things going on. We have our potato processor. We have more bale and pallet storage. We have our vehicle dealer. We're going to go ahead and purchase some vehicles. This map does not have any custom vehicles or implements, as we already talked about. So, our vehicles spawn on the other side of our dealership. Then our service dealer is inside the building with our trigger right here. Just down from that, we have then more bale sell points. So a bale sell point, we have a manure purchase, so we can buy manure there as well. And then again, we're back to our starting farm. We have another biomass power plant. This is going to be set up as a sell point. We have a gas station right here beside that. Another water pumping station we've talked about already. Along the eastern edge of the map, right here, we're going to find maybe a farmland that I'm completely missed. Let's go ahead and check that out. So yeah, farmland ID 243. It's going to be kind of an arable farm. We're going to have storage and a silo, as well as some sheds for vehicle and implement storage. And then just to the north of that, well, we're going to find lime seed and fertilizer buy point. We're going to have a grain sell point, as well as a grain buy point, and then a feed purchasing buy point. Across the street, we're going to have a farmer's market sell point for our loose goods and our palletized goods. Made our way up along the northern part. We've got another road going on here. And we have, well, another sell point, buy point. So we're going to be able to purchase grain, and we're going to be able to sell grain. Continue along this road. We're going to find ourselves, well, a dairy sell point. We're also going to have grain feed bale sell points, and then a buy point for liquid fertilizer and a buy point for feed. So here we have the dairy sell point. And here we're going to find the buy points and sell points for seed, fertilizer, grain, as well as bales. Just behind that, we're going to have our sawmill production. More water pumping stations on the drainage to the north. By farmland ID 251, which was a farm, we have again that potato processor we talked about earlier with bale and pallet storage. Also over here to the west, we're going to find our spring mill auto. What are they going to do? Well, let's go and check. They're going to be our spinnery. make our way back west across the map here to the north. We have our sawmill, we have our dairy, that area. Got the pigs. We have what I'm betting is going to be another water pumping station. Yep. And then we'll make our way down the eastern side, and I think we're just about actually done. We are done, because we're back here to our sugar factory. Now, there may have been some things here and there that we somehow managed to skip over, but oh my goodness, this map is just absolutely loaded. Again, the big issue I've got going on right here is going to be ultimately the performance factor, because again of the massive view distances. Now, again, your results may vary with respect to your hardware and your graphic settings, but seriously, anytime I see frame rates in the 30s and 20s, I've got to think that's going to be pretty abysmal performance for a large majority of you guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below with respect to the performance overall on this map. Have you downloaded it? Have you given it a try? What type of performance do you see? And then a general poll, if you could go ahead and put in the comments, what kind of GPU are you currently running? Just to get a feel for the viewership and how many people are running systems similar to mine, how many people are running systems lower than mine, and how many of you are running systems higher than mine. Until next time, happy farming.